Yo, what up nerds? It's the weekend, so of course it means a brand new anime streaming showcase, and although technically by date standings when this is going up, Summer of A.S.S is over, but when I wrote the script it was still summertime, so I'm going to count this as the last Summer of A.S.S showcase that I will be doing this year. I hope you enjoyed the run, it's been a blast. So we're just going to hop into it. One of my favorite series, Code Geass. In 2006, we received two terrific morally and ethics-driven shows, and for me personally, it showcased that anime industry has more to offer than I ever thought. At this point in my early 20s, I'd only known a scant selection of genres and delved mostly into shonen genres, as they were the most widely preferred and widely available shows to see. With Death Note technically being classified as a shonen series based on its key demographic, it was still a bit more mature and different from the action-heavy shows I'd indulged in previously. Little did I know that there was another show airing alongside it set in the mecha genre that I'd always classified as Death Note, but with robots! To my friends, Code Geass. That's not exactly the greatest classification of Code Geass, to be honest, but the strategic tactics and mind games showcased within are certainly comparable, but Code Geass quickly earns its stripes just a few episodes in. It's 2010, and we're in an alternate universe where the world is split into three factions: the Holy Britannian Empire, America, the Asian Federation, Asia, and the European Union, Europe and Africa. Britannia quickly overwhelmed the Japanese forces thanks mostly to the use of their autonomous armored knights dubbed Nightmare Frames, mechs that can easily dominate even the most technologically sound warfare. Britannia quickly takes over Japan, stripping its citizens of their rights and freedoms and renaming it Area 11 and reducing it to mere peasantry. Lelouch Lamperouge and his sister Nunnally are cast out from Britannia by their father and take residence in the Prime Minister of Japan's home, forming a friendship with his son, Suzaku Kururugi. Lelouch vows to Suzaku that he will take down his father and the Holy Britannian Empire one day. We then leap forward 7 years into the present, where Lelouch, Nunnally, and Suzaku's lives have drifted apart, with Lelouch becoming a popular, albeit resentful student, Nunnally carrying the more mental brunt of watching her mother die in front of her, and Suzaku working his way through the military ranks to try and change Britannia from within through political reform. Lelouch and Suzaku both have aspirations for change, but are two heads of the same coin. One through reformism, the other through any means necessary. Lelouch's brilliance really shines through multiple times in the series in the ways he can manipulate multitudes of people with not only his words and his actions, but also a lot in part thanks to his newfound power provided by the mysterious green-haired C2, the Geass. The Geass, or the Power of Kings, allows Lelouch to control any person he locks eyes with, and he can control them completely to do his bidding. There are a few catches, of course, a few caveats. He can only use it once per individual, and he soon learns that he must be incredibly careful of what he says, how he says this, and who he may have under control when doing so, to prevent other chaos. There is a scene in the latter half of the first series that showcases Lelouch's words and his hubris can affect more than he ever realized. It's a remarkably tragic moment. But of course, Lelouch isn't doing this all under his own name. No, he's adopted a pseudonym to carry out his plans and create his empire. The dazzling student is soon commanding a resistance force that helps turn the tide of battle against the Holy Britannian Empire. Lelouch's new alter ego, Zero, dons a mask that allows him to give a persona to his message. Lelouch must carefully protect his identity to protect himself, his friends, Nunnally, but his brains more often than not prevent any major harm from occurring to those close to him. Meanwhile, Code Geass isn't afraid to showcase the real brutality of war, even if the war is fought with giant robots. People die, and ideologies are tested amongst friends and family. Lelouch only has one goal, and it's utter and complete victory over Britannia. Alternatively, Suzaku's route to betterment and change for his country goes more from within the Holy Britannian Empire, as he is now part of their army, to try and cause change by climbing its ranks. What he may lack in mental fortitude, he more than makes up for in terms of combat prowess. the duality of Lelouch's brains and being a Britannian fighting for Japan, while Suzaku's Japanese bronze are fighting for the Britannian army, but ultimately for the betterment of Japan, is this fun back and forth the series offers up quite frequently. Ordinarily, a show about a pseudo-tactical army commander might sound dreadful to those unfamiliar with the usual beats of the genre, but the writing and directing of Code Geass prevents it from ever being slow or dull. Series director Goro Taniguchi, who knows a few things about mecha shows, devoting a lot of his career previously to various Gundam and mecha series, handles a political mecha thriller with terrific creativity. The team at Sunrise enlisted the help of the mangaka group Clamp to help design a lot of the art for Code Geass, utilizing their unique styles and looks in an otherwise uncommon scenario for their creations. The style of Code Geass doesn't start and end with Clamp's creations, though, as the series is rife with a lot of style in the color palettes and mecha battles. The anime practically explodes on screen through varying moments in battles. Sparks fly in robotic clashes, flames bursts and erupt in miraculous form, while characters move sharply and with panache. Code Geass was one of the first mecha shows I'd ever watched that didn't have Gundam attached to it, or was a relic from the 80s or 90s that was then nigh impossible to find. It's a refreshing show that showcases you can have great characters without following the same formula 1,000 times. There's no angst-ridden lead, no pedestrian female lead only there for the lead's unrequited affections or fan service, though Code Geass does offer more than enough fan service for both male and female viewers. Code Geass is almost instantly addictive, and each episode leads into the next in a beautiful storytelling manner. There's little wasted momentum or opportunity, as the plot is always either building or showcasing Lelouch and Suzaku's talents throughout. The battles have impact, while smaller moments weigh in more heavily than one might expect. It also helps that the tertiary cast is mostly a standout group too, as their impact is left as episodes close and new faces enter, adding to the richness. The true fun comes in the battles involving Lelouch, wherein we're lucky enough to see his gifts on display. He's admittedly never the strongest fighter nor pilot, but he more than makes up for it by standing back and using his armies to control the battlefield. In addition to his Geass power, as well as his orchestration before and after the battle, Lelouch is practically unstoppable. His own folly is typically his attachment to the friends and families involved. As despicable as he might be as an enemy, he tries to be carefully considerate for all of those he considers his loved ones. His humanity and naivete are often his greatest weaknesses. But this also produces remarkable television too, as the dramatic tension is so fun to enjoy. In the same manner as with a show like Game of Thrones, there's a level of intrigue into the mind of the villainous that's always fun to explore, at least for me. I always adore learning of motives and the why of a character that's usually considered polarizing. And while a lot of anime tend to present their characters in the same light, they're either a tragic figure, they're evil incarnate, etc., etc., Code Geass' characters seems to present more depth than average anime. As much praise as I have hyped upon Code Geass, there is a lot in the series that fails to resonate with me, and most of it stems with its second series, Code Geass R2. As incredible and perfect as its first series cliffhanger finale was, when we finally got to the second season, something simply seemed off throughout. It was still fun, and that's ultimately the most important aspect for me from anime, but the thrill factor lessened, and the enjoyment suffered as a result. I don't exactly know to this day what caused R2's story to be so full of knots and twists that never fully became untangled satisfactorily. It's bloated, and it offers even more cast to follow in an ever-increasing convoluted political landscape, and as most successful sequels do, most are easily forgotten in the characters aspect. Or they're simply reskins of already existing characters from the first series. R2 is a show that I do not like to return to, not for its story at least. The production values on the animation side are still great to watch, but the series' quality dips in nearly every other aspect. As glorious as Code Geass is, R2 never matches the exceptional, consistent highs of its predecessor. But if you're in the mood for a fun, original, and creative mecha series that is as entertaining as it sounds, Code Geass is a great series to check out. I do think that the good to great heavily outweighs the bad to miserable in this case. And even though the first series doesn't wrap it all up in a satisfying bow, if you can stomach its second series, it's there too for you. And it's not really the worst thing ever made, it's just another victim of sequel syndrome. You can find Code Geass streaming in all the usual spots via Funimation, Crunchyroll, and Hulu. The dub and sub are both worthy adventures, so don't worry if you think one's better than the other. My personal preference leans toward the English dubbing due to the occasional moments of monologues and dialogue-heavy scenes, but again, that's simply one person's preference. Code Geass has earned its reputation, and 10 years later, it's just as good for newcomers and those who have been here before, but they may want a trip down memory lane. So there we have it, the final episode of Anime Streaming Showcase's Summer of A.S.S. I hope you enjoyed it. I tried to go out with a bigger bang of a bigger show because Code Geass is kind of a big deal. It's actually got a third season starting up later this year. I'm kind of looking forward to it, despite R2's not so great taste that it's left in my mouth. But new Code Geass is always fun for me, so I welcome it. And I hope you enjoy this episode as much as I enjoyed writing it and producing it. That's a loose term. I just slap some sheen on it and make it look pretty and put it up in the same day because I have no life. But anyway, I hope you had a good weekend, or you will have a good weekend depending on when you watch this. I don't know. But I do thank you for joining me as always. Check out the Laser Time Network. Tons of stuff on there. Podcasts, various videos and content that you can spend zero money on and enjoy, or you can spend a little money, give to the Patreon, and help those dudes live. They're cool people. I like them very much. And of course, they allow me an avenue to do this stuff. So I thank you. I am going to play some video games, maybe see a movie or two sometime this weekend and just relax. I hope you guys have a good time, and I will see you next time. Later, nerds.